Hello, extremely intelligent lambs. Welcome back to the Movie Night Review. I will be your host today, Peter Berry, and today's topic will be on superhero movies. Let's get started. Superhero movies have been taking the world by storm in the last 20 years. I tried to actually look up how many superhero movies have come out since 2000, and the problem is, when people make lists like that, it's always changing because they have to keep updating the list. Superhero movies are coming out in droves right now. There are hundreds of superhero movies. So, today I will be talking about my 20 favorite superhero movies. Because this might get a little long, I'm going to split off into two parts. Part 1 will be my from 20 to 11, and part 2 will be 10 to 1. Okay, so, without further ado, let's get started. Number 20, Shazam. Shazam is a movie I watched when it first came out, and I loved it. It definitely has problems with the movie. It's an enjoyable watch. I like it a lot, but I will say, for one thing, they give all the emotional scenes to the child actor, and then all the goofy scenes to the adult. And I feel like it doesn't seem like they're the same character. You have a very broody type teenager, and then you have a goofy adult character. And I think they should have taken more time to work on trying to make the adult actor act more like the kid actor, and the kid actor be more goofy than he is. So it's a good movie. I really enjoy it. It has some hilarious laughs. It's very enjoyable to watch. I really strongly recommend you guys check it out. It's just not perfect. Number 19, Avengers Endgame. A lot of people are going to be very confused about this. But yes, my number 19 is Avengers Endgame. Avengers Endgame is good. I really enjoy it. This is the first and only movie I've ever seen in theaters before. I really like it. I like the movie. It's good, but I wish it was better. It's kind of just predictable. There was only one thing. I won't spoil it for anyone who haven't seen this movie yet. One thing I didn't see coming. That might have been somewhat because I was keeping up. This was the first movie that I really kept up with any new leaks and all that kind of stuff. I subscribed to some YouTube channels that were explaining all these leaks and come up with theories of what could happen. So when the movie came out and it was exactly what I was expecting, I was kind of disappointed. So it's good. It has some really great scenes in it. I like it. It's enjoyable to watch, but I don't think it's going to be one of those movies that 10 years down the road, people are going to be looking back and like, I really want to watch Avengers Endgame. Like, raise your hand if you're one of those people who actually take the time to rewatch this over and over again. The fact of the matter is, it's good, and it's a good ending to a saga, but it's not that good at being a solo film. It has some good laughs in it, some very nice nods to the last 10 years. It was just a finale. The whole movie was a finale. It did some great jobs with it, but it's just the finale. I strongly recommend that you guys check out the whole Infinity Saga and end with this movie, because it's really good if you have been watching all the way through, but I just don't think it's a good standalone movie. Number 18, Superman Returns. Return of Superman is my Superman movie. I love this movie. This movie's awesome. I haven't seen it in a while, and I will watch it again, but what I have seen of it, it's good. I recently figured out that this actually is hated by most people. I don't know why, because I love this movie, but most people do not like this. They say it's a terrible Superman movie. I don't get it. It's the best Superman movie I can think of. Like, Man of Steel is just not a Superman movie. And the older Superman movies, I'll get into them later on, but they're good, but they're just lacking in areas. So I really like this movie. I think it does a great job of showing Superman being Superman. I don't think it's perfect. It's definitely not a perfect Superman movie. But for what it is, I really like this movie, and I was so excited to see the return of this character in Crisis on Infinite Earths. So yeah, I strongly recommend if you guys haven't checked out this Superman movie, it's really good. I really strongly recommend you guys check it out. Number 17, The Mask. The Mask is a movie I watched a number of years ago. It's good. I really enjoy the goofiness of this character. I hear a lot of people don't like this for the reason that it's not been like the original comics. Because the original comics is more like gruesome and stuff like that, and they don't like how they made a goofy version. But I would welcome a gruesome version of the story. But I also like the goofy, goofy superhero aspect to it that it's enjoyable. Basically, in the story, this man finds this mask that gives him the ability to make everything around him have cartoon logic, basically, right? So if he can make a balloon into a machine gun. He can like catch bullets because of, or he has super speed because of the logic that he's just applying to this, right? Think Looney Tunes meets real life type thing. Like he basically can make the Looney Tune logic in real life. So like, he can make a door appear out of nowhere. He can do stuff like that. Like, there's a scene where he swallows a bomb and just, it's normal. You can do that because his logic says you can do that. So basically, yeah, it's a really fun story. It's a very enjoyable watch. I strongly recommend if you guys want to, you have to check this movie out. It's good. Number 16, Avengers Assemble. The first Avengers movie is really good because it was one of the first superhero movies. I won't say it's the first because it's not. But one of the first superhero movies to bring a superhero team all together, right? It did something the comic book nerds dreamed of seeing someday. A high budget adaptation of the Avengers, right? And that's what they got in this. It's fun. It's an enjoyable watch. It's not perfect. There's definitely flaws with this movie, but for overall, it's really enjoyable to see characters that for the last couple of years they were building up these characters, being able to see them team up, right? Seeing Captain America in the same room as Thor and Iron Man and Black Widow and characters like that. The villain in the movie, Loki, is really good. He's not the best villain, but he's enjoyable to watch. The emotion in this movie is not lacking, but the laughs are good. The whole final battle is fun. All the characters are enjoyable to watch. So overall, it's a good movie. It's just not great. I put it higher than Endgame because, while I still got what I was expecting, I enjoyed watching this first team up more than I watched the final thing, even that had more to it in Endgame. I liked the simpleness of the Avengers first movie more than Endgame. Number 15, Spider-Man No Way Home. I might be wrong about this, but I believe it passed Endgame in its box office. This movie's awesome, right? I will go into a little bit of spoilers about this one, so just skip past if you don't want to hear any spoilers about this movie and you haven't seen it yet. Basically, they did something really good. They brought back Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man. A Spider-Man that should have got a third movie. He's awesome. He's my favorite Spider, but I'm not the biggest fan of Tom Holland's and Tobey Maguire's versions. I do like some scenes of Tobey Maguire's, like when it's memes and all, but I just never saw them as Spider-Man as much as I see Andrew Garfield. I'm glad they brought him back and did justice to the character. I love it how, after watching this movie, there was a big turn of people saying, I want to watch The Amazing Spider-Mans again. They're not as bad as I thought they were, all this type of stuff. And I'm glad people are seeing that because I really like those movies. I don't think the second one's that good, but I like The Amazing Spider-Man movies. They're good. And I really liked it how they actually did a good job keeping to the character, right? He was still The Amazing Spider-Man. And I love it how they continued the story by, like, doing little hints of saying stuff like, I stopped holding my punches after Gwen's death and all. I'm like, I really like that. I really enjoy that they did honor to the character. And they did a good job with Tom Holland's version of Spider-Man 2, because he felt like he was stepping out of Iron Man's light. He wasn't just a new Iron Man villain. I will say that it is kind of weird that they have it. All of his movies, in this first movie, he goes up against someone who hates Iron Man. The second one, he goes up against someone who hates Iron Man. And the third one, he goes up against other versions of Spider-Man's villains. It's like, he can't get his own villain. Overall, I really liked his character in this one because he actually stepped out into his own element. He was his own character, and by the end of the movie, he really becomes Spider-Man, for real. He becomes the real, true Spider-Man from the comics. So, overall, I like this movie. It's good. It's not perfect. But I especially like what they did with The Amazing Spider-Man. They really pulled his character off. And there's a big turn for having the return of the Amazing Spider-Man franchise. And I really like that idea. I really want to see a third Amazing Spider-Man and maybe some spin-offs of that character. So, yes, I strongly recommend, if you haven't checked out this movie yet, please check out Spider-Man No Way Home. Number 14, Logan. Like with Superman, another superhero that I really like is Wolverine. And I really like Logan for that it took a dark turn on the character of Logan, but it really showed the character, like how the character of Logan works, right? You really step out and see Logan for being Logan, right? Basically in the story, Logan has to team up with his daughter in a way, and in joining them is a very old version of Professor X and all. And basically, all the mutants have been wiped out, and so Logan has to keep track of Professor X, keep him calm so he doesn't go into a panic attack and then kill even more people and all. And so there's basically this adventure of Logan learning to be a father and all. And it's a really enjoyable movie. It's rated R, and so it's very gruesome. And I like that because you really see what actually would have been like to have metal claws in your arms. It's not the most pretty sight, right? But it's also how much damage you can do with that. In the other movies, they had to keep it PG-13, so they couldn't show the violence that you could do if you had metal claws in your arms, and you can really kill, slash up people's faces and stuff like that. So I really enjoy that. So yeah, I strongly recommend, if you guys haven't checked out this movie and you guys are adults, you can feel free to check this movie out. It's really good. I'll probably go into a later video talking about this more. But for now, just if you are over 18, feel free to check this out. Number 13. Zack Snyder's Justice League is a movie that's not perfect. It's good, but it's not perfect. I mainly love it for the fact that it is not the Whedon cut of Justice League, which is just awful. I love it how it was able to be more dark. We really got to see the characters get focused on. I would love to see the Snyderverse come back, because I want to see where he was going with that, because he really set up some good stuff at the end of that movie. There's definitely problems with it, especially when it comes to the Martian Manhunter. It was how long was he that certain character? It's kind of stupid in my mind. It just took out all the emotion from those scenes with that character in it. I loved it how they really dwelled on Cyborg's character, and seeing him deal with the loss of his humanity, but also showing how he still has his humanity. That was one of those things that I really thought was weird, why they cut all that from the Whedon cut. I get it, they had to make it shorter, but they didn't do justice to the character, and by the end of the movie, you didn't like the character, but in the end of this movie, you really liked him. I think all the characters in this movie got their time to shine, and I really like that. Some of them definitely needed it, and yeah, it's a really good movie. I strongly recommend it. I think it's 4 hours long, so it's really long, but it's an enjoyable watch, especially if you're a fan of DC, because it's definitely better than what they originally came out with. for the Justice League, and I strongly recommend that it is a must-watch for DC fans. Number 12, Avengers Infinity War. Avengers Infinity War is the first of all the Marvel movies that I was caught up to by the time it came out in theaters. So that was the first movie I was thinking on going to see in theaters of the Avengers movies. I ended up not seeing it and just waiting until it came out on DVD to watch it. But I remember when it first came out and how I was hearing talk about how some crazy stuff happened. And when I watched it, the ending of this is, not going to spoil it, but it's really heart-wrenching. It's crazy what they did. And you're like, you had to see Avengers Endgame after watching this, because it's just like, they did some crazy stuff in this. It's a fun adventure. It has some great pacing. The characters are awesome. Just like with the first Avengers movie, this was the Avenger movie. Just like with the first Avengers movie, this was when you got to see the Guardians of the Galaxy, and Doctor Strange, and all the superheroes really team up. I will say it is annoying that they had them split off into two different planets, so they actually don't meet each other properly until Endgame. But it's really awesome seeing all these characters. Seeing Iron Man talk to Peter Quill and like characters like that. It's a very enjoyable watch. It has some crazy scenes in it, some insane deaths. They really went all out with this movie, and I really enjoy that. So yes, if you haven't watched this movie yet, it's a must watch because it's really good. Number 11, Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman did a really great thing. It showed that female superheroes can have good solo movies. And I really like that because it does a good job. And I think this is a good lesson for people trying to make, especially when it comes to female superheroes, how to make a good solo film. For characters, how you have to show the humanity in characters. This is one scene in the movie where you just have her reacting to people in the trenches and people on the streets in London, and like you really see like how she's human. She's just like us. She might have superpowers and all that kind of stuff, but she's still has humanity in her. And I think that's a big thing that people should learn when it comes to making movies, is that you do not need to make them look so tough that they don't care about human life anymore. Likeable. The characters should be enjoyable to watch. And when you see someone like Captain Marvel just beating up an old lady, how enjoyable is that? I don't care if it's actually a Skrull. That's not how you make a superhero movie. You need to make them relatable. You need to make them likable. And that's what this movie did, right? Wonder Woman, the first Wonder Woman movie, really showed the humanity in the character. And that's what you want to see, right? People want to look up to, and not just women, but men as well, to strong female characters. Not characters who have no emotions, like Captain Marvel. That's what you need to do with female superheroes. And same with male ones, too. Make them likable. Love it how this movie was able to destroy a myth that was going around of female superhero movies will never be able to sell at the box office. And yeah, we just disproved that. It can sell at the box office, and it can be good at it too. So, if you have not checked out this movie yet, it's a must check out. It's really, really good. The characters are awesome. The ending has problems to it, but overall, the story is good. The characters are good, especially the main character. And I wish we could have got a better sequel to this story, because this movie was awesome. So overall, that is the first half of my list of superhero movies. I will be coming out with the second half next week. You please subscribe and turn on notifications so you can see when that video comes out. If this is your first time ever watching my channel, feel free to check out some other videos by me. where I talk about other topics, just as trilogies or Christmas movies or different topics like that. I look forward to see you guys again next week, and I would very much appreciate it if you would share this video with your friends. Overall, this has been the Movie Night Reviewer, Peter Wary, signing off.